Hey guys and gals, welcome back to Mom and Papa Joe's YouTube channel. And if this is your first time, thank you for joining us. Today's Friday evening and it's a long weekend, and we are about to go inside and prep a 17-pound Snake River Farm pork shoulder. It is going to be a 10 to 12 hour cook on our Traeger Timberline 1300 prep. And we're actually going to start to cook tomorrow morning about 6 o'clock. So we're going to toast, have a drink, and then we'll see you inside as we begin our prep.
And don't forget to hit that button. This doesn't require a whole lot of trimming. Fat pad isn't too thick. I'll take some of that off just to get more bark. I'm going to get rid of this flap. A little bit of fat that we have to remove just to increase surface area to get some bark. A whole shoulder consists of two pieces. Here is the Boston butt that most of us are accustomed to. Money muscle on this end. The bone end would be right about here. Then we've got the picnic to include the shank. Different textures of meat, more lean here in the shank, a little leaner here in the picnic, but as we get upwards in the upper part of the shoulder, lots of good fat marbling. This is more of a dark meat, this is a lighter meat. You like to pull them and mix them after you have done your cook. Flip over and see what we got. I don't want to remove all of this fat cap. Just going to thin it out just a hair. So today we're going to be injecting with a simple homemade pork stock. Miner's pork base. 2 tablespoons of this pork base to 2 cups of water. And it creates a nice savory, salty stock. Now when you're using this Miner's, it's got ground meat in it. You're going to have to strain it. I use a strainer to get out the larger particles. Then I come back with a finer strainer to get out some of the small particles. Not very difficult. It's easier. It incorporates a lot easier if the liquid is warmer. I let it cool before I inject. I have got some of the fancy injectors. They just don't work for me. I always seem to come back to my disposable syringe. And I've got, right now I'm using a 15 gauge 8-inch needles. Something that I can control, something flexible. I can move it around. And this is how I inject all my meats. What's great about this is it does not create large holes. So you're not going to see very much run out of this. I'm applying light pressure on the plunger and I'm moving this around. One last syringe. And then we're going to let this just relax for about 10 or so minutes. This allows for any injection that wants to run out and not take our rubs with it. Roughly 15 minutes for that injection to settle, and a little oozed out, but not enough that it would be worrisome. I like to use a binder. A little bit of yellow mustard. My favorite is Heinz. You're welcome to use whatever type of binder you choose. It can be oil, it can be your injection. And this binder simply allows your rubs to stick. I'm going to be using some coarse black pepper. I'm going to treat this shoulder a little bit like a brisket. I'm going to try to really develop a good heavy bark. And the foundation of any bark is some nice cracked black pepper. Don't be afraid. The seasonings you put on the outside should carry over to the inside when you pull or start slicing this piece of meat. Today we're going to be using 2 rubs. My base will be chupacabra all-purpose. Lots of herbs. You can see all the herbs. Nice, salty, savory. And then we're going to cover that with Sucker Busters Texas Pecan. Nutty, little sweet, just a hint of heat. This black pepper we just put on is going to bring some additional heat. I want to go pretty heavy. Again, large piece of meat. I am not afraid. A lot of seasonings is lost during the cook. So don't be afraid to season your meat. All right, so we're going to come back now with our second layer. And this is that Sucker Busters pecan, however you want to pronounce it. And again, a nice healthy coat. Don't be afraid of it. Come back with my coarse black pepper. Again, I want this to be nice and healthy. The higher up you can drop your seasonings from, the more even coverage you get. Come back with my chupacabra. We'll come back with our Sucker Busters Texas Pecan. This is going to be the sugar that really helps create that bark. This color right here already tells me this is going to be absolutely beautiful tomorrow. So I'm going to let this finish sweating, put it in the fridge overnight. We're going to probably drop it on the pit about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Alright, good morning guys and gals. The 1300 has been preheated to 275 and this baby is getting ready to go on. Not a whole lot of liquid from overnight storage. I added another light layer of that Sucker Busters pecan. Let that sweat in, and she's getting ready to go down. We're not going to open this pit again for at least 3 hours. And at that point, our bark will be fairly well set. Excuse me. And we'll be ready to start spritzing. Alright folks, we're at that 3-hour mark. We're going to do our first check of this shoulder. It should appear dry and that bark should have really started to set. What I've created here is my own spritz. It's a combination of maple syrup, white vinegar, and apple cider vinegar. I've got a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and a quarter cup of maple syrup. This is really going to aid that bark in setting and getting that deep, dark mahogany color. Let's take a look and see. All right, just like I said, we've got great coloring. Bark is nice and set. It is not moving. We knew that this low spot to start would hold some fluids. Not a problem. It looks like a lot of fat. I see fat oozing. So again, let's hit this with our spritz. With this spritz, guys and gals, we're looking to adjust our dial to more of a mist than a spray. We don't want to do anything that's going to loosen our bark as it begins to set. And we want to be careful that we don't saturate. We don't want this running off of our shoulder, because if it starts to run off, it's going to take some of our seasonings with it. I'm going to pull out just a little bit to make sure I get the back side. Alright, that is looking absolutely beautiful. I'm going to do the spritz about every hour until I'm satisfied with the color. And just like with a normal pork butt, we're going to be wrapping this someplace in the neighborhood of 165 to 170. And I'm anticipating. All right, so here we are at the 5-hour mark. We've been spritzing every hour, starting at the 3rd hour. And man, this is absolutely beautiful. We're going to give this another misting. I'm actually going to probe it to see where we are. I'm looking for that 165 to 170 range, and then I'm going to pan this. Grab my trusty Thermapen, and I'm going to hit several different areas. That says 160, 160, 164. So I'm going to give this probably another half hour or so to an hour to get into that 165, 70 range in a couple of different places. And we're back, folks, the 6-hour mark. We are looking now, double checking, 166, 167, 169. So I think we are right where we want to be, between that 165 and 170. We're getting ready to wrap. I'm not actually wrapping. I'm gonna pan. What I've got is a foil pan. I want to put it close, not to get my my deck too nasty. Gonna be the cook's treat right there. I've got a half a cup of that beef stock, that pork stock that I made with the miner's base. Half a cup of water with 1 teaspoon of that miner's base. If you want to add apple juice or anything along those lines as your liquid, you can. By the way, I had my my wool heat gloves underneath. And we're going to come back and look at this in about 2 hours, starting at 2 hours. And I'm shooting for that 202 to 205 mark. All right, so we are at hour and about 45 minutes after panning. We're going to check to see. We want to be pushing 200, between 195 and 200 right now. And if we're there, we're going to throw a little sauce on top. Man, look at all that juice that came out. All I put in there was a half a cup. 197, 199, 195, and she probes very well. 196, 199. I think I'm going to call that good. I'm going to throw some sauce on it just to tighten that bark back up. Do a little re-seasoning. This is that Sucker Busters Texas Pecan. I'm going to drop down another layer. Come back with some Blues Hog Tennessee Red. A thin vinegar-based rub. And again, this is just to really help this bark tighten up. As I finish here, we're going to let this go maybe another half hour. Like I said, I want to get in that 202, 203 range, and we'll call it good. I'm not going to put any sauce on that shank. I want to use that in a pot of beans, so I'm going to try to keep that sauce free. Alright, so we're about total cook time about 8 hours and 20 minutes, and I think we're right where we need to be. Man, this thing is probing like butter. We are right there, 202, 203. We're going to call it. That color is amazing. That smell is amazing. Plenty of juice. We're going to pull this. I'm going to let it rest. I'm going to try to let it rest for at least an hour. And then we are going to pull it. Alright folks, it's barely been half an hour, but Mama can't wait. We've been picking off of this. We're going to pull this real quick and grab a couple of sandwiches. I'm going to leave this shank alone. I want to put this in some beans this coming week. First thing I'm going to do is to pour off some of the juice, because I don't want to have my pull swamped by juice. So I'm going to pour some of it off. Set that to the side. If I need more after I pull, I'll come back and get some. And we're just going to start. Oh my goodness. Guys, look at this moisture. I don't even know if we need any juice. I do not know. I'm going to get a bowl. I don't know if I want to put any. That is absolutely. And it's still warm, so I'm wearing my wool gloves. Oh my goodness. Man, I could not ask for much more. Oh, this is absolute perfection. That color, that smoke ring, the smell. Let's go. Guys, gals, this does not need any additional seasoning up front. We season this enough that the seasoning as we pull will carry over to the interior of the meat. Oh, that's absolutely delicious. But real quick, I'm gonna come in here, and if anybody wants a little juice, I like raw onions on mine, and so does Mama. I'm going to come back with just a hint of that Tennessee red. Just a little bit. This doesn't need anything else. Auntie Segovia, thank you for these pickles, baby. They're the bomb. They are the bomb. Oh. money. You can make this happen, folks. Excuse me talking with my mouth full. Mama, come get you one of these.
Okay. Delicious. I want chips to go with mine. So today was a good day. We just finished the cook about an hour and a half ago. We started off a little late. We slept in 7:30. We pulled out the pork shoulder, let it sit for about an hour, come to room temperature, and then CJ started his process, and I'll let him tell you about that.
Sitting here stuffed, dumb, and happy. We started with a simple prep. 2 seasonings. Sucker Busters Texas Pecan and Chupacabra all-purpose. We simply did it yesterday evening. Let it sit overnight. We injected with a simple injection of Miner's pork base, 2 tablespoons to 2 cups of water. Very savory. Came back this morning with a light coat of the Sucker Busters Texas Pecan and dropped it on the Traeger 1300 behind me at 275. We let it go for 3 hours. At 3 hours, we checked it. The bark was set. We spritzed with the combination of a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. That spritz creates a nice, it's a nice addition to your bark. It really gives it color. And we did that every hour for approximately 6.5 hours, give or take. At that point, we simply put it in a pan, and we added about 1/2 cup of that Miner's base with 1 teaspoon of Miner's base and 1/2 cup of water. We added that to the pan, and we wrapped. We pretty much went wrapped for about an hour and 45 minutes, and from there we opened, we re-seasoned, and we sauced with some Blues Hog Tennessee Red. Nice thin vinegar-based sauce. We let that go about another half an hour to 40 minutes to let that glaze set, and we pull the pork shoulder right around 202, 203. We let it rest for about a half an hour. We really couldn't wait much longer than that, and we commenced to dig it in. Guys and gals, this was probably one of the most savory pork butts / picnics that I've ever done. You're going to want to try this recipe. You're going to absolutely love it. Not very sweet, but so savory and well balanced. I'm going to eat most of it. We're going to give some of it to the neighbors. Matter of fact, I've got a neighbor sitting here right now. Say hi, Gene.
What's up?
And he's here to pick up his portion.
Always.
Yeah. So we really want to thank you guys for stopping in and check us out. And again, if you have not hit that subscribe button, guys, what are you waiting on? You know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get nothing but the good shit and not the bullshit. So hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Thank you again for dropping in, and you guys take care. Hey, if you like what you saw, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. Also, tell me if you want to see something specific, and I'll do what I can to accommodate. Thanks again. You guys take care.
And hit that subscribe.